Studios, the last known resting place for Vincent Price's teeth, proudly presents
TomHanksgiving, right here every Tuesday. TomHanksgiving, come on and press play. There's Elvis, the host with the most, yada 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 yada. With a different guest each week, they're the smart ones. Each episode's a new movie about Tom Hanks, the man himself. Of course, it's time for TomHanksgiving. It's the best you can get. It's the rootinest, tootinest podcast on the internet. TomHanksgiving.
I don't want to
You're always on your game, Greene. You gotta bring it.
need to put some quarters in Zoltar.
Say no gossip, guys. Oh, man, okay.
Not much gossiping happening in this movie.
No. All business, actually.
There's no time wasted.
Which we'll get to. Speaking of not wasting time, howdy, partner. Welcome to TomHanksgiving. I'm your host with the most, Elvis Kunesh. And we're joined by Andy Greenbow, Alabama.
That's me. Thanks for having me on for the finest Hanks film.
Well, I'm excited because this has been a long time since we haven't been in a car together talking about Tom Hanks.
That's true.
I guess maybe not that long because we talked about He Knows You're Alone.
Yeah, in between.
Or did we record that before Hologram? No, that was after.
No, it was after.
All right,
yeah,
but
yeah,
is it not since A Hologram for the King? And we sat down on this couch to record.
For the Empire Strikes Back of the Da Vinci Code franchise.
Yes! Which, by the way, today we are talking about Angels and Demons, Ron Howard's 2009 follow-up.
Classic.
To the Da Vinci Code, which we talked about the Da Vinci Code on a previous episode.
That was a good episode.
It was one of my favorites, too. Our guest Jacob Breed was on, and we kind of talked about the hollowness of flat Hollywood movies, like this blockbuster for dumb people to make them feel smart. And Hanks' turn is kind of like a weird adventure action hero. And we had a lot of criticisms for that movie. And I'm feeling a lot better about Angels and Demons. I got a lot to say about this. How do you feel?
This movie is immune to criticism.
I don't know. But
this movie is fun. It actually is.
Yeah.
And I mean, I think it's actually like what you were saying. It makes dumb people think they're smart. I think these movies make smart people think they're dumb because you're actually trying to figure it out, and you realize. No, there's no real... There's
no logic.
Yeah.
It's not playing that fair with you.
And yes, I know I don't know the most about, a lot of the themes and religion and all the papacy stuff, but I don't think that matters.
No, I mean, honestly, it's kind of like going through the Disneyland version of the Vatican and the papacy and all that religious iconography anyway.
Yeah,
it's
exactly.
Like, here, it's like we're dealing with a real cultural subject, but we're going to...
twist it.
Yeah, we're going to twist it so it's like, that's our...
Pop culture-fying.
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah, that's Dan Brown.
And it actually really works in this version of the movie. And I feel like we're diving in right ahead. We did want to do a little recap.
Yeah.
The Da Vinci Code.
Set the stage, because I didn't watch the Da Vinci Code before.
You have seen it before.
I had seen it before.
You had read the book.
I prepared by listening to your podcast.
A great way to prepare for, obviously, Angels and Demons, and more importantly... in life. But also for the Inferno movie, which is coming out next week.
Oh, man.
Or actually, it's coming out this week, but we're going to review it next week. This is right. This is our maybe not our first, but one of our big two-parters. Because this week we're talking about Angels and Demons with Andy Greene. He's coming back next week. We're going to do
You went into the conclave and came out voting me as your host or co-host
for Inferno, which we're very excited about. So this is our big Halloween double week special, and that actually we're jumping ahead.
There's nothing spookier than church.
There's nothing spookier than church and the end of the world. Tom Hanks is fighting off the apocalypse, and this one he's just fighting off a city being destroyed. So we're really raising the stakes.
A mediocre blockbuster. But yeah, he fights it off with a plum.
With a plum. You feel that B at the end of that word.
Plum.
But yeah, that's going to be a special episode that was released the only Monday episode of TomHanksgiving. because it will be released in time on Halloween Day, just for you kids. So make sure you see Inferno.
Don't listen to it alone.
No, not like he knows you're alone. Our other spooky episode, which would also be appropriate for Halloween. But so check out Inferno this week and come back on Halloween to listen to Inferno. But this week we're talking about
A&D.
A&D. Give me some of that ass
Sounds like
and
just
dick.
Andy, actually.
Andy for Andy. That's how we had to do it.
There it is.
All right, so let's so recap of the first movie. We had a lot of criticisms when we talked about it on the show, and it's basically Tom Hanks plays Robert Langdon, who is this professor of symbology, which
Symbologist.
Symbology would be what he studies.
I know.
But I wasn't sure. I asked the question: is this a real profession? We didn't ever look it up. But I guess there are people who are just dedicated to be like, oh, this is a symbol, and I guess the alphabet is a symbol technically. So
one like hieroglyphs for like Egyptologists.
So he's this kind of like, smart, Harvard kind of guy.
He's like
with a bit of an eccentric like belief in like. In the first movie, he's a bit of a nut, a kook, because he's got like this book and it's all dedicated to like ancient symbols mean these stories and things, and
so no one believes that.
But then his expertise kind of gets him involved with this big scandal. Someone's stolen.
No one cares.
There's something is stolen. The codex is stolen, or there's something inside. Something about the church, and he gets pissed. The Vatican's going after him, and Magneto is his friend. Turns out to be the bad guy. Amelie turns out to be
boring.
Boring, but she's also his or Jesus' like great grandniece.
Great genes.
Great genes, absolutely. But nobody can know about it. And that's kind of how the movie ends. And then he figures out shaving, like, one last secret. Like,
Hanks figured out shaving?
He did.
That's why I've never shaved.
Mary Magdalene's buried. It's a whole mess of a movie. And that's the thing. When we were watching this one, at the beginning, I'm like, I turned to you, and it's kind of like, oh, you know what? Just like the first movie, I'm, like, getting caught up in, like, the cheesy, fun, like, twisty, turny page. Like, oh, the plot's, like, it's moving. And I'm enjoying it. But I predicted that, like, halfway through, something's going to hit, and it's going to be like, oh, but then we're going to talk about the implications of why this is such a big, important thing, and God, and the church, and Catholicism, and all that. And it's going to throw in so many plot twists, it's not going to make any sense. It's going to make the movie kind of a bummer. And that's what happened. That was my experience with the Da Vinci Code.
But
this movie...
A&D?
Angels and Demons, I feel like, embraces the cheesy thriller that it is. And it's like, where Da Vinci Code struggles.
Trying to be self-important.
It's self-important. It's trying to be... it's pretentious. It's totally pretentious. It's trying to say something when it really has no substance. And we kind of... We scraped the bottom of the barrel in that episode to see if there was anything there. We haven't... considered the lazy screenwriting. Is this a sign of Deus Ex Machina? Is God actually influencing the plot? And we came away with no, that was not the case. But with this movie, it kind of like isn't afraid to it's shying away, I guess, from the big important stuff. And it's like, no, this is just a cheesy, fun thriller that happens to involve the Catholic Church as kind of the setting.
And Hanks with a little bit less hair.
His hair looks so much better. We get a Hanks Speedo scene.
Speedo Hanks.
It's the most Hanks skin we've seen since Splash.
And hey, another Ron Howard.
Another Ron Howard, Brian Grazer. Imagine entertainment. Imagine Tom Hanks naked. That's what it's basically all about.
And he got into shape.
Looks good. He's in shape for his little action movie. His hair is finally cut.
It's not a lot of it. Little action is
it's a lot of like hustling, not too much running.
Hustling is right. Yeah.
He doesn't do any kung fu.
A brisk jog, maybe a couple.
What's the most action-packed Hanks has ever been? Does he ever brawl with anybody? I'm trying to think now.
Turner and Hooch?
There's a little bit of action in Turner.
I mean, I guess, can count Toy Story.
Yeah, he does go fisticuffs with Buzz. I mean,
he's
obviously
not an action star.
Right, unless he's got a gun and he's in the military, like in your Saving Private Ryan.
That's true. What about Road to Perdition?
That's probably the most action-packed, but it's not like...
He's running a lot in Catch Me If You Can.
That's the poster, basically. But yeah, he never really gets into a brawl with anybody. So and he doesn't do it in this movie. Hopefully, Inferno we'll see him become a true like Marvel superstar.
That would be great.
But I'm not holding my breath. But yeah, this movie embraces kind of the cheesy,
the national treasure.
It's very national treasure. And I, for one, now that we've kind of gotten like this, it's just the surface level thing. We're really not trying to say anything deep. I'm so glad that Tom Hanks has like his own little action franchise. It's stupid, and it's not. I can't say it's good, but it's
forgettable.
Fun.
Yeah,
it's fun,
yeah.
And I love that he's got his little own like bad Indiana Jones. His national treasure. Jesus Jones.
That's
yeah,
what I called him for some reason.
I'm like, and maybe it's just because. Like the last month we did with Sully and Ithaca. I'm just so happy to see Hanks movie that like.
You can enjoy.
I'm enjoying it, so I'm going. That's my reaction. What's your reaction?
No, I'm with you because I think there are some of the same problems that Da Vinci Code had in this one, but I think it's not trying so hard, and I think it's still overcomplicated, but they do simplify it, I think.
Yeah.
And the best part of it is that the pace is fantastic in this.
Yeah.
It really is just like, okay, we're going. It has a time of like midnight is when the antimatter thing is going to explode.
That's maybe my favorite thing in this movie is that it's like it's a one-day plot.
And you can't waste time there. I mean, we still do. And not really. I mean, we're just going back and forth doing the whole quest, which is the whole point. There's just no, like... And maybe we want little quiet, intimate moments, but honestly, no. I don't.
Yeah, I think the thing that it's sacrificing and maybe...
character?
Well, yeah, there's no character in this movie.
Robert Langdon is so much, even less in the first one, right? Like, because you said he had quirks, and this one he has like, does he have a joke in this movie?
No, well the first.
Oh, he says like hell or something when they complimented. They complimented him he was wearing like a cloak.
Yeah. He wears a pastor's or a priest's outfit without the collar.
Yeah,
and he's like, yeah, look that suits you like hell.
Yeah.
So, but that's like his really one wry line, and like. They at least tried to give him like the action one. I think they went a little too far with the pulling out of the character because basically Robert Langdon in this movie is just there. Like this isn't his story. It's so emphatically not his story. It wasn't really his story in the Da Vinci Code. He was still kind of our protagonist. Like he's our axis character for this story, and it was more about Amelie, Audrey Tauto's character. But he at least, he had his little personal, like, I gotta get over the elevator thing. And he had he had a relationship with Magneto, and that kind of influenced, like, how the story was laid out. And he was kind of Magneto. I'm saying Magneto because I don't remember his character name. But it doesn't. Who fucking cares? Gandalf.
Oh, there you go. You got him.
Ian McKellen
Sherlock Holmes
played him as he played Sherlock Holmes?
Yeah, he plays an old
that's right.
Holmes.
Yeah. Okay. But he just comes in and he's like the expert on this thing.
He's a free agent kind of guy. Like, we got to bring him in. He's the expert now.
He's like James Bond.
He really has a James Bond setup of like, okay, there's this big MacGuffin that gets stolen.
Here's the mission.
Yeah, exactly. The antimatter has been stolen. It's going to be used, obviously, and it's somewhere in Vatican City.
Yeah, and it's just like a James Bond. He gets a mission. It's not really a personal story.
Bond girl.
There's a new Hanks girl. I guess a Da Vinci.
Well, I love that a Hanks girl is. There's no romantic tension whatsoever. No flirtation. No anything. She's just a woman that is. I guess there's that one moment where he's like, "Oh yeah, you can help me read Latin because I already know."
We read into that. Yeah, we read into the Latin scene where they're in the archives that he wouldn't know Latin but how would he not? He's like the super professor guy.
So he knows Latin. He was just doing it so she'd
come around and they could kind of like flirt and like what, or at least that was his approach. But I don't think that's actually textually accurate because he doesn't know Italian either. And he gets the guard, unless he's flirting with the guard. We'll get a bisexual.
Well,
Tom
the guard
Hanks.
is my favorite character in the whole thing.
More than Hanks.
Yes. We just said that
Hanks' character is actually, that's true. The guard gets...
And maybe it's a part of Hanks as an actor that he can bring out the best in everyone that he's in, even these small roles.
Sure.
But I'm just finding, in this movie especially, that... I mean, it's one of those ones where you're watching it and you're deriving more pleasure from just the people on the outside and being like, ooh, what are they going to do? Is the inspector going to be bad? Or who's going to be bad? And we're trying not to be the obvious person, but we're thinking it probably is the obvious person.
Yeah, and that's a huge part of the fun of this kind of movie, and because this one just embraces it and goes hog wild, is that kind of childish, like, oh, we're engaging with it. Who's it going to be? Is it like
it's a whodunit?
Yeah,
who's doing it rather?
Because you know there's a twist coming, and you're trying to figure it out ahead of the movie.
Because you know someone in the papacy is corrupt because there's always someone corrupt.
Yeah, I mean they leave the clues pretty early on, but also at the same time, like, what? Oh, it's just some guy.
Yeah,
that's what movie does that.
Well, I mean, it could just be the Illuminati.
It's true,
but I mean, I think
saving that for the sequel. Maybe.
There you go. Yeah, maybe this woke them up. Like, oh, you use the Illuminati in, I don't know, as a tool for fear. We'll show you real fear.
Yeah, something like that. But yeah, I think this movie does. It's so interesting to look at it as a reaction to the failures and successes of the previous film, and I mean, the previous film did a lot of money. This one obviously was successful enough to
probably not as much, sequel. But yeah,
but it obviously did well enough for that. We'll see how well Inferno does.
Yeah, I mean, so they fixed his hair.
They fixed his hair. Yeah. They fixed his hair. They pulled out all the pretentious bullshit and and a
lot of explaining. There's a lot less.
So much less explanation. So that,
which means the movie is unclear. Like, we had several points where, like, wait, what's going on?
It's not that the explanation wasn't there.
Yeah,
it's just like everything goes so fast,
very quick. Yeah.
And if you miss a beat, or you're because there's so much information hitting you at once.
But it's okay to miss a beat because you're still having fun.
Yeah, it's not like you're
still moving forward.
That's the thing. Like, there's a lot going on, but unlike the previous film, it's not convoluted. It's just
complicated.
It's still, I guess, it's convoluted towards the end. It still does that Da Vinci Code thing.
Yeah.
But like, for the most part, it's like, oh no, it's just we got to save these 4 guys, and
there are 4 elements.
There's a bomb.
Yeah.
Basically, we got to put. It's
a scavenger hunt for the kidnapped cardinals.
It's a kidnapped movie plus a bomb, and it's very simple in that sense. And the fact that they even going back to what they the reaction to the previous movie, what they changed to improve upon it. They pulled out all that stuff. They also pulled out any semblance of a love story. There was barely any with Audrey Tauto's character in the first movie, which is good because she plays even younger than Hanks and his co-star in this movie. And it was just
Victoria in this one.
Yeah, Victoria, because it was just kind of awkward. They kind of have a kiss on the cheek. You listened to the episode, don't we talk about
it? Kiss on the forehead.
Kiss on the forehead at the end of Da Vinci Code, and even that felt like a little
I'm
weird.
Referencing your episode.
But this one, there's no kiss. There's nothing, not even a lust outside of that we-imbued flirtation scene. And I kind of appreciate that.
I think it's nice to not force the guy and the girl have to get together, because especially in this, there's just no time.
Well, yeah, it's a day. I guarantee that the book has a romance or something.
That's true. Well, and also she was never even in danger. I mean, that's another trope, is that maybe she gets kidnapped or whatever, but she was honestly kind of just there along for the ride.
She was removed from a lot of the action, and that was interesting too, because we got 3 different point of view characters. There was Hanks, Victoria, and then Ewan McGregor.
Yeah. Who the Camerlengo.
Yeah.
His name is Patrick.
Patrick, nice.
Father Patrick.
Nice pull.
Yeah.
I'm going to call him Obi-Wan because I'm like that.
I'm going to call him the Camerlengo.
Ooh, that sounds cool, actually.
I mean, that's his title, which I guess is the...
It's probably a thing.
It's like the aide or counsel to the Pope, it sounded like.
But he's not a cardinal.
He is not, which is a big...
It's a big whole thing.
Clearly, he wants to be that.
He's got ambition.
Ewan McGregor had a lot to play here.
He was good.
He got the Hanks the fun meaty role.
Yeah. He's this is a cheese, and just the same way Ron Howard directed this movie, to just embrace the cheese.
Yeah.
Ewan got to do that.
Yeah.
He's this is isn't a realistic character maybe, but he does a very nice job.
He's got his accent going, and he plays Two-Face.
And he fucking lights himself on fire at the end.
Well, and I think we were actually thrown by that. We assumed he was evil. That was what was fun with this movie, is you assume Ewan McGregor's evil from the beginning. Mm-hmm. And then the whole movie convinces you otherwise, and because the movie has the longest ending ever, then you're like, oh, fuck, he really is evil.
Yeah, because there's that moment, when the movie's still going, you're like, oh, there is one more twist.
Yeah.
And then what could it be?
And it has to be that. But
yeah.
I mean, it's almost like, of course, Stellan Skarsgård, I mean, they make you think he's evil because he fucking is evil. Like, he acts like a dick. It's like, come on, what he does. But then, I mean, it's manipulative. But in a fun way where it's like, you want to be fooled. In like a way that why people love CSI and Law and Order. Like, they know the truth is, but they let you let yourself get tricked.
Exactly. I mean,
fun.
And as long as the movie's doing that right in front of you while you're watching it, it's fine.
Yeah.
Because that's all this really is. It does not hold up if you scrutinize it later. Like, what the fuck was Ewan's plan? He was going to blow up everything. That could have gone so wrong. He was holding it in his hand.
Yeah, exactly.
He almost died on the parachute.
Like, he knew that Robert Langdon was going to find it 4 minutes before that would happen, and then he'd have enough time to go up there, and then he had there was...
And, like, the more you think about, like, why did he take the doctor to go see the Pope's dead body to confirm it?
Right. Well,
I guess because he wanted to, if it was a murder...
that makes him look good. Like,
I guess.
It goes away... You lose suspicion if you're the one who takes him to the dead body.
Yeah.
Right?
So I guess there's it makes a sort of sense, but not really. Like, especially.
Well, what about his actual goal? And his whole goal was basically to take down science, essentially, because the God particle. They did touch on a little bit that the antimatter is kind of the God particle. That's where Vittoria works in CERN in Geneva. They come up with it at the beginning.
It's a Large Hadron Collider.
Yes.
Which was in the news around that time.
Yeah, and the particle accelerator. They didn't create Flash. They created the antimatter. No. And then the Swiss Michael Ironside gets killed.
and the gruesome details in this movie are great.
Oh, yeah, we get to see like an eye just on the ground. We get to see some like blood spatter on Hanks.
On Hanks, yeah, he has a good blood splatter.
That's why he had to change clothes.
Yeah, into the priest outfit.
He did look great in the priest outfit.
He did, and my favorite scene, just in terms of that visceral reaction, was the guy, one of the Pope campaigners,
the Preferiti,
the Pope candidates,
the four favored candidates.
Yes, the fire dude who's literally getting burned to death in one of the churches. That was just holy shit. And I thought they were going to save the guy. Did not. He just got to burn to death while Hanks crawled away in terror. What a hero! He's not. He saved 1 out of 4. I think he's a 25% of a hero. But did he save him really? He kind of had to get help.
That's true. Well, he got help by Rome. This is the people of Rome. Yes. Because Hanks is an everyman, all right? They all rally. There's the Spider-Man moment where New York's there.
Yes, everybody wants to have the Spider-Man moment. Even the next Spider-Man reboot, which sucked. That moment was so bad in that movie.
You gotta ape the moment.
Yeah.
New York is a character. Rome is a character, and that's actually, I kind of like these movies. I mean, they're not accurate, but I like the travelogue element of it. It's like, ooh, I want to go to Rome and go see all these different places. I've been to Rome, and it jogs some of that stuff to me in a romantic way. I mean, it's so not like no one watches movies like I'm actually going to go to Rome. They're like, this is why I never have to go to Rome.
Well, you I'm sure recognized all of those expansive rooms they shot in and expensively went to.
Yeah, exactly. This was probably shot in fucking
Burbank.
Yeah, right here.
Right down the street.
Oh, yeah. No, it definitely was. Yeah, no, there was some painful green screen.
So bad. Like, the green screen was worse than the Star Wars prequels in a lot of places. Like, just
Ewan McGregor, he signs up for these.
Well, that was the thing. He knew how to act in those. I noticed them less. When it was Hanks and what's her face going.
Yeah, Hanks is not used to it.
So, no, he needs a physical set.
Yeah, when they're in the the Pantheon was really bad.
Yeah. There's like
pretty much any actual big thing they went into was just so painfully fake.
Yeah, and
the Sistine Chapel was like a screensaver on top of it.
And the museum where they had like people who were all like in different layers of green screen behind them.
Oh yeah, the little extras looking at them, and it's like, oh god, he's like way too close. Yeah.
And there was like at least one where they were like panning down from the sky, chasing after. It must have been Ewan McGregor or something, and it was like, oh, yes.
Yeah, it kind of makes you dizzy a little bit.
Yeah, a little bit.
It's the uncanny valley of this movie.
Yeah. they've certainly improved upon those kind of CGI sets, but it's bad.
That's true. Yeah, I mean, they can't get access to most of these places because, rightfully so.
Obviously,
the
they
Vatican
can't
is
shoot
gonna be like,
in the Sistine Chapel.
a mediocre movie here.
I don't know. I guess this was probably the best option they had, but still,
Yeah.
not great.
But so it didn't make you want to go to fake Rome?
Didn't want to make me go to fake Rome.
It made me want to see the real one. And I mean, they're talking about real things and then just getting the history of all the different sculptures. And I want to see all the statues pointing. You said you want to go
on that scavenger hunt.
Yeah.
That sounds like, that's fun stuff.
Yeah.
Ironically, it reminds me of Amelie, which is the star of the previous movie.
And probably a better use of my time in terms of a scavenger hunt.
I mean, France.
Yeah, exactly.
Go.
Been done it.
So this is...
Well, can we talk about how this movie has a lot of, like, the whole Batman ending in this? I mean, it's Dark Knight Rises, which I think it came out before Dark Knight Rises, but basically, Ewan McGregor's character takes the antimatter, he goes up in a helicopter, and he takes it away so it'll explode, but then instead of dying, in quotes, because Batman doesn't die, he takes the parachute, and that is where we see a lot of bad CGI around it. The parachute is like... God, it's like a feather in Forrest Gump. Or what's like one of the movies where there's just always an object that's just floating around? I feel like Hanks had that in...
Not Feather in Forrest Gump?
Is it Feather in Forrest Gump?
Yeah, at the beginning.
Yeah, okay, but it's like that. Like, the parachute's just going everywhere. And somehow, like, he survives. Like, how does that a part of his plan?
It was... Yeah, exactly. It was so weird because, like, that's a moment... Even, at this point in the movie, you don't know he's a bad guy. You think he's a good guy.
Because he's a hero, yeah.
He's a hero, but, like, the tone is all over the place. Like, because when he's flying around hitting the roof, it's funny. Because partially because of the graphics, partially just because, like, this is so absurd. But
and also partially because, like, he did it, but then it's still, like, wreaking havoc upon everyone
it's still
else.
kind of fucking everybody.
Yeah, like, several people died, I think, anyway.
So, like, the way those signs were flying around, and people definitely got injured. A lot of people probably died.
But, like, I mean, the Batman of it was that they basically made him Harvey Dent, where they were like, okay, so... They covered it up. They kept that he was a hero, and that was what this movie, obviously, and just Dan Brown and all this is all about deception and covering it up. And the church doesn't learn any lessons here. I
want to going into that. Do we learn a lesson? What is the movie's stance? What is it? Because it's constantly, even in the last one too, is critical of the Catholic Church and their practices. But is it saying...
I like that, but I don't think it
ever does anything.
Yeah.
I feel like it gets a very safe choice, because it's kind of like, oh, we lied to have his truth preserved. And that I can kind of actually get behind. I mean, that's the Batman thing.
Yeah.
And it's also kind of how movies work.
Yeah.
Movies are just lies that get to a human emotional truth.
And it's what Cardinal Strauss, the guy who we think is evil the whole time, but he's really just a crotchety old man who's just very strict to the old ways. He basically says, when you write about us, write us softly. And that's what these are. These are softly written movies where they're just...
It's a soft critique.
Yes, a very soft critique of like, well, maybe we should look into this a little bit, right?
It's like, it's appealing to both sides because it's engaging with the Catholicism, and it's like this. Yeah,
the church should honestly be all on board with these movies because it starts a conversation. It makes you want to be interested in these iconographies, these artifacts.
And for the most, like, I mean, both movies so far, there's been some sketchy details, but like the spirit of the church is always like, no, this is a good thing.
Yeah,
and the critique is always kind of bullshitty, and it kind of comes down to there wasn't really a character story for Hanks.
Yeah,
for Robert Langdon.
Yeah,
it sort of seemed like if there was an internal struggle at all, they did some lip service to his faith and how but I don't think he ever makes a move on that.
No, so like when he tries to get access to the Vatican archives, Ewan McGregor's character basically vets him. He's like, so I just have one question: do you believe? And that's I think going to the supposedly the character credo or like the whatever we're going to learn about Hanks in this
because he's over claustrophobia.
Yeah,
now it's all about faith.
And he basically said that his mind never understood it, and that his heart
tells him we're not supposed to know.
Exactly, and he said like faith is a gift I've yet to receive.
Yes, does he receive the gift by the end? Because he says at the end, I don't think God sent me. And then he just gets that look from the new Pope.
Saying like, well...
Are you sure?
Because you were sent by God to help us, Robert Langdon. That's what Strauss is implying.
Yeah, I don't know if Robert Langdon walks away with that gift, though.
No, and I think he didn't learn anything. I think, which at least that's good. Like, I think it's better that he admits that he's a static character there than like, I want to join the church, right? Like, wouldn't that be the worst? Like, because we don't buy that at all, right? Like that journey that he supposedly should make.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it makes it less of a story is the problem. There's nothing really going on.
It's a bad thing when I'm rooting for the less of a story part than the bad story part.
Like, would it matter? Like, obviously he's not going to join the church. But he doesn't have to go that far, but just to have faith.
Well, I believe, yeah.
Yeah. I believe there's something out there. And that's like such a vague, bullshitty, like,
I want to believe.
Like, that's the end of the fucking Super Mario Bros. Movie. Like, oh, I believe. All right, Bob Hoskins Mario. It's so bullshit. Like, it's not that much of a commitment. It's not a big character arc, but, like, he could have just had something. But no. And maybe it's kind of ballsy that he didn't. He's like, I'm going to stay academic. Like,
agnostic,
you God people are crazy.
I got my book. I got the Galileo.
That's all it was for him. It was so material.
Well, I mean, he saved a few lives.
Oh, obviously, and that's important. There's a moment, actually, I wanted to come back, when we were talking about how this is a one-day plot movie.
Yeah.
Robert Langdon, the movie starts, obviously there's shit going on, they send a dude to pick him up, Poppy, as I call him, we don't know his character name. Robert Langdon is just enjoying a swim in a Speedo. He's not planning on doing anything big and obtrusive that day.
Probably thinking about his lecture in class that day.
Exactly. Yeah. And then he gets it, and then he goes, it's a very important thing. And then it's like, all right, you know what? If I go over there, maybe I'll get access to the thing I want. So his little motivation. So, but he's thinking, okay, there's a big to-do. People might die. So it's kind of like his last little adventure.
Yeah. It's a puzzle to solve. That's what he's all about.
So he's engaged.
Yeah.
And so he's probably thinking, I'll have to spend some time in Europe, just like last time. I'll be there for maybe a week or so, a couple of weeks, figuring this out. But then he gets to the Vatican, and like within 20 minutes there, he's like, we have till midnight. Like, I just wonder that moment, there was no moment in the movie, but like in his mind, he's like, fuck, I knew I was going to be busy, but like, fuck, this is my whole day. I got so much shit to do. Like, have you ever been in that position? Obviously not where the world's going to end, but where you show up for work and you're like, oh, this is a way bigger deal than I thought.
Oh, yeah. Exactly. You just go and you're like, oh, I thought I was going to be able to have time to do something.
Yeah, exactly. He's like,
you have that to-do list that you were like, well, I was going to do this after that. And it's like, well, he doesn't have time to do anything else after saving the world.
Yeah.
So that's his burden.
I kind of wish we had that scene. Just a moment.
He has to call, like, he calls Audrey to sorry, I can't hang out.
Yeah.
Like, I'm in Europe.
Even just a moment, like, where the other good dude's still talking and we just see Hanks. It's like, fuck, this is going to be a whole day.
He's like, yeah, I don't even get to have gelato.
Yeah.
That would be a perfect Hanks line.
Yeah, exactly.
There was frustrated Hanks there.
I hope we get a little bit more of that in Inferno.
I want him to be more of a resigned character, right? He's like too old for this shit at this point, right?
I hope so. In Inferno, maybe.
Yeah.
Because he's along for the ride.
Hanks is perfect for that trope.
He's so good for that.
Like, he was born in the middle of, like, saying that. He just comes out of I'm too old for this. Ah!
What do you mean? Yeah, just frustrated Hanks. That's our favorite Hanks. Yeah. He wasn't he was good in this.
He was perplexed.
And
scared. And, he didn't have enough. Did he have more to do in Da Vinci Code?
He had much more heavy lifting to do in Da Vinci Code. But that also led to the way of its convolution. So you got a little bit more from Hanks, but it came with that
baggage.
That bullshit baggage. So in the reaction of the previous movie, they cut that stuff, but they lost some, like, Hanks he's so
Ticks.
Barely there.
Yeah.
And I'm not talking necessarily about the internal stuff, but we're not even getting, like, his charming, like, one-liners. This is a movie, it's so cheesy. He should be having those one-liners, like, when he saves the Pope and from the water and all the people are there, he's like, when in Rome. Like, why wasn't there stuff like that?
Yeah, let's have some fun. Yeah, no, the one one-liner he has, he says, well, that's disappointing.
And-
like, that speaks for everything,
Yeah.
right? That's...
Maybe the most, fun scene was...
Oh, when they're stuck in the...
They're stuck in the archives.
Yeah, in the archives with Blonde Guard.
With your lawn guard, and it's him and Hanks, and they're looking for stuff, and the power goes off, the air conditioner turns off, and it's getting too hot, or the oxygen
turns off with the power. It's not the AC. They're
I love the detail in every movie where if there's an air conditioning or an air vent, they're going to tie on little pieces of paper so you can see it's blowing.
Yeah.
That's never in real life. And it's so far up there, who would get up there to do that? It's just a movie conceit, so dumb audiences can understand, oh, the air's not blowing. I love it every time I see it.
Oh, man. I would have loved him to say, the air's not blowing.
How do you know? Look at the pieces of paper. They're not moving. We're going to die. And then just smacks Blonde Guard.
But it's pretty funny because, so Blonde Guard pushes a whole cart of books in the window, and then he just passes
winded.
out. Well, because they set up that he's a smoker, so his lungs aren't as good as Hank's.
I was kind of hoping that was going to go somewhere because in the very beginning of the movie, when we saw Danish Michael Ironside,
Swiss
Michael Iron. That's right.
Genevan, though, I like the Genevan Michael Ironside.
There's this little. There's a little tiny no smoking sign in the background shot of the shot. And, I just noticed it and, put it away. But when the smoking guy came up, I was like, is there a subtle little, no smoking message Ron Howard's throwing in this? But it never came back from
And he
me.
started smoking after that.
Yeah,
It's like he learned a lesson.
And he didn't die, so there was no punishment for going back to his old ways.
He was one of the few people who survived.
Yeah, and rightly so. Although he did kill the actual good guy.
But
That's going to be on his conscience for a while.
That's true. But hey, he's... Yeah. He might take the faith, take the cloth.
I guess Ewan McGregor lights himself on fire. Smoking's bad? I don't know. I don't think there's anything there.
I don't think that's a thing. It was Burning Man. It's like everyone at the end, we got to go to Burning Man.
Yeah. What?
Yep.
You lost me.
The festival, Burning Man.
No, I know, but
I mean, it was just very literal. It's a guy burning.
Yeah, I get it. But is that because people smoke weed?
No. We can end this tangent.
Anyway.
You were going somewhere before that.
I probably was.
Oh, well, we didn't finish
we were talking about the scene,
Red Room.
The Red Room, the archival escape. It's, and then I love that we get our boys down.
The most active Hanks
The most angry. Yeah, he's it's action star. He's climbing up this giant library bookshelf, and he he Hanks out in this movie. The Incredible Hanks. There's 2 moments where he's up there,
and what's great is neither of them were.
Yeah, it's he's hulking out, he's Hanksing out, and he's pushing against the pillar, and finally the bookshelf.
He has to rock it, and
he's going to crash it against the window, and of course, nothing.
It's great, and then he realizes Blonde Guard has a gun.
A fucking gun. Why didn't we use that? Why didn't he use that? So we start shooting it. And it's okay, now the glass has got to be weak enough.
And he's dying right now.
Everybody's dying.
Yeah.
Hanks, in his last bit of oxygen, climbs up to try and do it, but he passes out.
But that dead weight is enough to... He hasn't lost that much weight.
No. And that was the only moment where I was is this an act of God? Is this an actual Deus Ex Machina coming in to save the day? And then you're fuck you, let's keep watching.
I think it was more of a that.
Yes.
But I think it was also kind of a comedic moment in that.
I guess you're right. It was that was more a moment of comedy because
it was just this. That was frustrated Hanks, right? And we got to see it in action, and then. I mean, that's after he passes out, he doesn't even get the satisfaction of saving it.
That's great. That is great because it's that's the lighting of the match and then the match going out in Toy Story, where it's we know the solution. He's gonna shoot the thing or whatever, and then it's not, or he's gonna knock this thing over, and then it's gonna work, and then it doesn't work. But my problem is that there was no satisfying conclusion. It was just and then it does work. But whatever. It's still a fun sequence. And I guess
that and the Burning Man Part 1 is your favorite too?
Because that was just so holy shit, we're doing this. This is PG-13
It was
movie.
holy.
It was holy. I'm sure it was shitting because who wouldn't?
Yeah, that's true.
But yeah, dude was on fire. What was your favorite scene?
I know, Red Room for
Red
sure.
Room, yeah, that was great. For as little character as Hanks gets in this movie, Victoria, the girl, nothing.
Yeah.
She shows up at the beginning and she's the expert. And I mean, I guess that's more realistic. Is like, we need this girl to figure it. But even she doesn't do anything with the antimatter at the end.
Doesn't do anything except for like, oh, you can't hold it. She holds it and puts it down and like, oh, we can't do anything with it. Then he grabs it and does everything. And we pointed out that Ewan McGregor could have done the exact same thing she did. Just
he knew that was there the whole time. So why? And he could have been 5 seconds off and killed everyone. Ruined. Like, what the fuck was he thinking?
Yeah. Well, I mean, I guess you could chalk it up to insane villain, but I don't know.
Which is always boring.
I don't think we really got into his motivations that much. I mean, we got some backstory on him, that he was an orphan and that,
the Pope took him in.
And then the Cardinals didn't really treat him that well because he wasn't a cardinal, he was just a priest. And
can't you become a cardinal? How does that work? You have to give
it a moonstone? The scope of this. You have to evolve. Yeah, once you get enough priest candies, then you can evolve.
Then you're a cardinal. And you're Pidgeotto.
Jeez. Oh man, that was a good tangent.
Yeah. Speaking of tangents,
boom.
There's a moment, or it's basically the crux of the end. Actually,
are we on the path of illumination right now?
We're on the path of illumination. We're getting there.
Right.
It's not quite the crooked path from Joe versus the volcano, but it's more of a cross. There's a moment in the movie or before the twist happens, where it's like, Ewan McGregor, he's the evil one. Yeah. There was a moment where we reach enough of the conclusion where I'm starting to think of Inferno now. It's like, wait a minute. So Ewan McGregor is the Pope in Inferno? Like, isn't that weird that there's this young Pope? I know he's not in the movie. It's like, what the fuck is going to happen? And that was the first moment where I was tipped off, wait, this movie's not over yet.
Yeah. Yeah, it was mostly wishful thinking.
Yeah.
I kind of the twist was fun. I'm glad it had the twist, but it did add about 15 minutes to the movie, probably.
Yeah.
Was that worth it? I mean, because it felt like it actually had a pretty good end with just the Stellan Skarsgård murder and all that stuff.
Yeah. I think it did need it because it's that kind of movie.
Yeah, that's true. You always need the last twist. Yeah.
I mean, the major problem is that it had you could have had Robert Langdon go home before that twist. I guess he had to find it out. He found out. But
that's true, and actually there was, to the movie's credit, you saw that little key in the Sony. Remember we were talking about the laptop, and I was like, "There's something here, but I have no idea what the fuck that symbol is."
It'll come back somewhere.
And it was that key, but it was very. I mean, it wasn't well done. It
wasn't like you were thinking the whole time, there's something in there, or I mean, I guess you picked it up, so it functions.
Yeah, I guess
it wasn't super satisfying. I think a major point again. Coming back to how it's thrilling and it's oh yay, a twist. It's hollow because it doesn't have anything to do with our characters or our theme. We're just doing it because that's the form, and that's fine. It was fun. I think it was better.
It's flimsy,
but it's flimsy. It's hollow. It's wishy washy. But
what is the theme? Did we land on that?
I guess faith
is a gift we've yet to receive. And we haven't gotten a good movie from this franchise.
Well, this is a better movie so far.
So Inferno.
I'm excited for Inferno at this point. No. Stepping back, Ewan McGregor is wrong that you can't incorporate science into God. So I guess if there is a very light, safe message this movie has, it's no, you can have these things. I mean, it's Robert Langdon and the Pope. They're best friends at the end.
Because the Pope is also a doctor himself, so we have science and religion combined, and that's
the message.
And that's the message we need in everything. Let's always no extremes. Let's come together. Let's accept everybody, right?
Yes, only the Sith deal in absolutes, and apparently Obi-Wan Kenobi.
That's true.
Which leads me to the real big thing, because the end of the movie, Hanks' last little thing is he finds this security cam footage, this nanny cam footage of the Pope's bedroom and his quarters, which he installed for Stellan Skarsgård to keep watch on him privately because he had these health problems. He was worried about having a seizure. However, and this is what he uses that to find out Stellan Skarsgård is fine and the other dude was evil.
Yeah, he wasn't trying to kill Ewan McGregor. Yeah. Well, he was, but he,
for the right reasons. Same with sneering Cardinal dude.
Yeah,
the only guy in black robes.
Yeah,
totally telegraphed to be evil. So big surprise he wasn't. So the Pope is under constant surveillance. Can the Pope masturbate? Even if he's not under surveillance. Is that a sin? Masturbation
It's impure thoughts. Or I guess if you can masturbate without any impurity.
What if you're masturbating?
I think it is impure just regardless.
What if you're married and you're masturbating thinking about your wife? Is that impure? Because you're married, God's love is there. It's all religious, and maybe she can't be there for you, and you just want to fucking get one off. Is that a sin?
If I want to fucking get one off, I'll answer your question the wrong way and saying that I for sure would masturbate in the Vatican. If I ever got that opportunity.
Andy Greene, the next Pope, ladies and gentlemen.
Exactly. I'm announcing my candidacy.
But
is
it a sin for people?
This is a little bit not would you rather with Dan Rather.
We're getting close. Would you rather masturbate in the Vatican or become a stone statue and get your dick castrated? I was going to work that in somehow.
I almost did earlier. Wait, so would I rather masturbate?
The obvious answer is masturbate, but you go to hell for the rest of your life.
Well, hey, I'll hang out with Ewan McGregor.
There you go.
And the Sith Lords.
Darth Maul, Plagueis, Sidious, I guess Vader. No, he was redeemed.
Yeah, that's right. So I think it's a tough question you laid out there. I think I think just masturbation's a no-no in general, but I think if we're going by the textbook definition of isn't it still just if it's about your wife, I guess that might be okay? I'm not the one to answer that question.
That's true. You're not really the authority, I guess. Let us know. Write us at TomHankspod. Do you think masturbation is a sin? We want to know. Find us on Twitter. The Pope's on Twitter, so I know you're listening, buddy. You may not be the doctor we're looking for, but let us know. We'll ask.
And let us know if you're in Inferno.
That'll be a tweet from the Tom Hanks Pod. We're going to ask the Pope, is masturbation a sin? But my question, going back to, even going away from that, because I want to know the answer. We're going to ask that question.
Okay.
Is, do you think the Pope masturbates? Like, honestly. Is he too old? Is a guy too old at that point? You're fucking jacking off till the day you die, as far as I'm concerned. Like, Mel Brooks, he's jerking it. You don't think he is?
That's true.
No, old people have crazy active sex lives, and if they can't get laid, I'm sure they're jacking it.
Yeah, no, I mean that's fair. I think the Pope. I think the Pope doesn't though.
You don't think the Pope does? I mean, I guess his whole life is
his whole thing
Jesus.
is that, right? I mean, but
you don't think he ever?
It goes if you believe the Pope to be a pure person.
I'm not saying that the Pope doesn't believe everything he believes and isn't a man of holiness.
One thing, obviously masturbating. There's nothing wrong with it. It's healthy. It's good. So I would have no problem with the Pope.
But that's the thing. I'm looking at him as a human being. Like, do you think that there's a moment when the Pope is not alone, or when the Pope is alone,
he knows you're alone.
The Pope's alone. All of his people are gone. He's just chilling. I mean, the Pope's got to chill. He farts. He farts. The Pope farts. He probably doesn't do it.
He's certainly had a few awkward boners.
He's got to get boners.
Yeah.
Unless something doesn't work.
I bet you, as a kid, the first time I ever masturbated, it was on accident. It was I didn't really know what was going on, but I know it felt good. I was literally just rubbing myself against the bed, and then all of a sudden it was wet, and I was like, "Whoa!" And that was that. And so the Pope might have had that.
I tell you what, when I was a kid, I masturbated constantly, but I didn't know what I was doing. I just touching everything down there. But the first time where I crossed the puberty threshold, where it wasn't just you're waggling your dick, and now it's it can do something. I remember going at it and feeling that surge of something, and it was painful initially, and for the first 3 seconds after it happened, maybe longer, probably longer, I thought I had shot out one of my testicles. And I was freaking the fuck out. So I'm never touching my dick again. That didn't last
until the next day. Wow. Well, I didn't know this was going to be a masturbation podcast.
Angels and demons, everybody. We
got a lot of demons.
We got a lot of demons. But I mean, the Pope's a human, man. He has
needs, he has urges.
How about in the shower? You don't think he gives it a couple pumps? Maybe he doesn't finish, but he's down there. He's got the.
That's
soap.
even harder than.
Have you ever done a couple pumps but not finished?
Oh yeah,
it's not that hard.
Yeah, whenever you come in through the apartment, I'm like, oh. I gotta stop.
As someone who was in a video, not masturbating for a whole month, I gotta tell you, a month sucks. The Pope doing his whole fucking life?
But he doesn't know what he's missing.
No, because you said yourself, when he was a kid, he probably didn't know and just did something.
That's true.
There's no way...
But it's not the same thing in that scenario, but I guess you do. It does feel good.
It feels great. Yeah. I mean, unless it's like your first time and you think your ball got shot out of your dick. I don't think most people...
They call that the God particle.
Oh my god. Oh my god, quite literally. I don't know how to follow this. Do you have anything else to say about angels and demons?
Well, this has been a goddamn nightmare. That was a quote from the movie.
Oh, I don't remember.
Well, it was the only way I could think of.
Was it a Hanks line?
No, it was about like tourism or... No, it was like the inspector or Stellan Skarsgård said it.
Yeah.
Sorry, that didn't follow it. Right. Just cut that out.
Once you have shooting your own testicle out of your dick, there's very little else for you to go. Except for to the sequel.
Oh.
That's right. Inferno. Next week. Not even
as in Dante's.
Indeed. It's not a story. It's a prophecy. Whoa! And we're prophesizing that we, the two of us, Elvis and Andy, will be back 6 days from now on Halloween day. I would say night, but it's the podcast. Why you're not going to listen to it when you're trick-or-treating. Listen to it while you're trick-or-treating. That'd be awesome. If someone does that, please let us know. At TomHankspod.
Tweet out your Hanks costumes.
If you're going to wear a Hanks costume, let me know. I've got mine planned. I might also wear a different costume, but I also have a Hanks costume for Hanks-o-ween.
Well, Robert Langdon would be pretty easy if you want.
You gotta have the hair.
That's
if you do
true.
Robert Langdon, you have to do Da Vinci Code Robert Langdon.
That's true.
That's my TomHanksgiving official credo.
I think that's canon. You're right.
My favorite Tom Hanks Halloween costume: Man with One Red Shoe.
Yep.
Super easy.
Fair enough.
In the meantime, we're going to be back next week, but in the meantime, Andy, where can they find you?
They can find me at Wandering Greene. That's Greene with an E at the end. That's on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. And then I also have a podcast.
You have a personal Andy Greene Facebook page? Did you make it?
Sure.
Or are you just adding your personal profile?
I just say that.
You have a Facebook page.
I don't have a Facebook page.
No.
But like when I get in the groove of saying them, I just add it, especially because I come off someone who always says
Instagram,
Facebook,
Twitter.
So no, I don't have a Facebook.
Maybe we'll make one for you.
Instagram and Twitter, Wandering Greene, and then every week, Aaron and I we talk Gossip Girl, and that is at Gossip Guys Pod. That's our Twitter, Instagram, and that is on Facebook as well.
Okay.
And we are on iTunes, and your favorite podcast app.
There you go.
Every Monday.
You can follow me at Elvis Kunesh on Instagram and Twitter. I don't have... I do have a Facebook, but don't add me there. People have, like, BuzzFeed fans have. It's always weird. It's like, I'm not going to add you.
Yeah.
It's my personal. I should maybe both of us should get fan pages before the next episode. Let's do it.
There it is. Before Inferno.
Before Halloween.
The world ends. Before the world ends. We gotta no regrets.
This is the only Hanks-pocalypse movie. Holy shit.
Hanks is our only hope. I'm feeling pretty good, though.
I'm very excited. I had a great time watching this goofy fucking stupid movie.
Yeah.
And I can't wait till next week to take it to the Inferno.
We'll put it there, partner.
Put it there. And how do you do? We'll be back next week. Until then, thanks for listening and happy Hanks-o-ween.
Tom Hanks, we fell in love with you, Tom Hanks. just like so many do deeply, because you made us smile, and your great on-screen style. So that's why we give thanks, 'cause you got a friend in Tom Hanks. Tom Hanks. Tom Hanks.
I do. I do remember the island of giant Pokemon.
I do as well. Snorlax was not in that episode.
Bullshit!